Welcome back to the Spoonie and Caregiver Life podcast with me, your host, Jordan Banderas. And before we get started, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes of the podcast. And let's get this episode started. Today's gonna be a good one. I've been preparing for this actually. Now, I want to start today's episode with this particular question. Have you ever started to do something and felt like you needed to ask permission or approval for whatever you were doing? I have felt like that a lot. And probably you have felt like that too, especially because we have a lot in common. Some of us are spoonies, caregivers, or we are just going through our own things in life, right? I mean, it's life. I have wondered why I have always felt like this, and I feel like I have finally stumbled upon the actual answers based upon my own experiences. Yours might be a little bit different. They might be slightly different because you're answering your own question about your life. That's pretty much what's going to make it a little bit different than mine. But my answer to this question is that I have a habit of asking if I can do things. This is how I was raised. That's pretty much how I was raised. Like, I always have to ask for permission. I always had to ask for permission, and this always happened when I wanted to do pretty much anything in my life. Like, if I wanted to buy something, eat something, go out, I always had to ask for permission. Always. And now, as an adult, I keep doing the same thing. I just realized that the other day because my wife asked me the other day about this, and she was all like, "Why do you always ask for permission to do something?" Back then, this just happened a few weeks ago, I didn't have the answer. So I started to think about this as to why I do this, and then boom, I found the answer. I also started wondering what else I'm waiting to get approval for in my life by asking for approval all the time. This is something that we don't realize. Like, we ask, a lot of us, and I have noticed it with other people, is that we ask for approval all the time. And sometimes we don't even know it. But one of the things that I realized is that I was also waiting for permission to get better when I was working on myself or when I would get sick. This is something that I found out, or this came to light actually, when I got sick last year and I had my heart issue. If you've been a follower of the podcast or a supporter of the podcast since the beginning, you might know that I had a heart issue last year where my heart rate kept going up. Doctors didn't know what was going on. They did tests and everything. But before I got the results or the correct diagnosis, I was wondering always, like, for days, I was like, am I going to get through this? Am I going to get through that? Am I going to have surgery? All of these questions I unloaded onto my wife. I was like, am I going to get through this? Are you going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? And that's the main question that I always ask for my wife or to my wife. I was always like, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be okay? Am I going to get through this? Am I going to get through this? Am I going to get better if I have to have surgery or anything like that? But here's what happened is that by looking back at this, I wasn't just asking questions out of fear. I was asking for approval to get better. Like, I was waiting for my wife to tell me, like, yes, you're gonna be okay and you're gonna get through this, so I can keep going. So I could keep going. Sorry, so I could keep going, and I didn't know this back then because I was scared. And when I realized this, I was like, that makes a lot of sense now, because even when I get sick or anything like that, when I have to go to the doctor, I always ask her, like, am I gonna be okay? Like, I'm asking her for permission to be okay. And I have seen this a lot, especially because me and my wife go to a lot of doctor's visits, right? But the main important thing in this situation is that finding this out about myself made me think about how many other people are waiting for approval to bust out of their shells or even get better with whatever is going on in their life. Just like me. Because when I was going to therapy, literally, I was asking for permission to quit. Or I was asking for permission to just be done and for them to tell me that I was gonna be fine. That's pretty much another thing that I can relate to on this particular subject. But I mean, we have to think about it. If we feel shame, disgrace, or like if we have let everyone down and we can't seem to catch a break to get better, we might feel like we need to have the approval of our family or friends to get better, or to even move on with our lives, since a spoonie can feel like the black sheep of the family. Because everybody else is healthy in your family. You're the only one that's having an unfortunate invisible illness that people don't understand. And this comes with this, or from the stigma that society or families place on us based on illnesses or conditions that they don't really understand. That's one of the things that we have to understand. Like, they don't understand what we're going through. We don't understand what we're going through. So because we don't understand what we're going through, we might say like, I need the permission to get up. I need the permission or the approval to get better because I don't know what's going on. That's how I see it. Now, what I'm gonna say is this: if you decide to look inward after listening to today's episode to see if you're waiting for approval to get better, don't feel bad if you are facing the same situation that I did. Try not to feel bad about it, because sometimes our own conditioning takes over without us even knowing. It's like muscle memory. Like all of a sudden you know how to do something, or you've done it for so long that it just becomes a habit. And this in particular could be a bad habit, because maybe you're asking for permission to get better, they don't understand. So you might feel misunderstood, or you're asking for permission to even go out when you don't even have to because you're an adult. You know what happens? So the only thing that you can do is give yourself permission to get better and not worry about what other people say. You are working on taking care of yourself, and most likely they are not helping you. They could be holding you back with all their criticism or misunderstanding that they have in regards to your illness. And if they are not helping you or being part of your team, why wait for their approval? You know what I'm saying? Because in the end, this journey is all about you. You need to do what's best for you and your family. And if that means getting better, then do it. Once you permit yourself to get better, remember that the road will still be the same, but with one big difference. And that difference is that you are ready to give it all you've got, with or without help. And that's what we're here. That's why the community is here, to cheer you on, because you're not alone. We are a team and we want to cheer you on. And with that said, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about on today's episode. So if you are feeling like this, like you have to ask for permission all the time, you have to look at the reason why, right? That's how I found out that this comes from childhood and always having to ask for permission for everything in my life. Now I was asking for permission to get better. I see it, like I said, with a lot of people. This could be happening to you without you even knowing. So it's all about figuring out why. One of the things that I did in this situation. Well, my wife called me out. So you might want to ask your partner, your spouse, your caregiver, whoever is helping you, to call you out when you ask for permission, and then pay attention as to how you ask for permission, if you're asking for permission to get better or not, and then you will figure it out. That's pretty much what happens. This is part of the journey to understand yourself. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk on today's episode. I really, really appreciate all your feedback, all your support. Thank you for all the new supporters, the new listeners. We're growing, and I really, really, really love that, because the community is growing as well, and that's pretty much what we are, a community. Now, if you want to share your story, don't forget that you can actually post it on Facebook on our community. You can email it to me at the Spoonie and Caregiver Life at gmail.com. Or, like I said, you can also post it. And don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, especially sharing. That's how we grow. If you keep sharing our content, we will grow even more, and we will be able to reach more people that are going through something similar to what we're going through. That way they don't feel alone, which is the main focus of the podcast and the community as well. So don't forget to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And I'll leave you like always. Always take care of yourself and have a great day.